Okay, welcome back. So now we're going to be looking at what happens if we multiply fraction and a fraction and another fraction. And the process is very similar for doing two fractions as it is doing 3, 4, or so on. All we're doing is continuing to multiply our numerators together and continuing to multiply our denominators together while looking for any opportunities to simplify or cancel out the highest common factor. So let's look at our first one. We have 3 over 5 multiplied by 4 over 7 multiplied by 2 over 9. And in this quick moment, we're just going to be looking for anything that has a common factor vertically between the numerator and the denominator or diagonally. And this can be across all three. So I can't see any between 3 and 5, 4 and 7, or 2 and 9. But I can see a relationship between a common factor between 9 and between 3. And that would be 3. So 9 divided by 3 is just 3. And 3 divided by 3 is just 1. Now I can't see any others there. So now we're going to rewrite our question. And it's going to be equal to 1 over 5 times 4 over 7 times 2 over 3. Okay? So, next stage, all we're going to do is multiply together all of our numerators and all of our denominators. So 1 times 4 is just 4, and 4 times 2 is just 8. Now, 5 times 7 times 3 is going to be equal to 105. Alright? And the way you can think about that is ultimately just to rearrange it and do 15 times 7, right? So you know that 7 times 5 would be 35, and then you would do that, obviously multiply that again by 3, right? Or you can think about 7 times 15 as an alternative. Okay? So the end result ends up being 8 over 100. Alright, so let's look at number 2. So we have 5 over 8 multiplied by 3 over 4 multiplied by 7 over 11. Now, just looking at these quickly, I can't really see any common factors, which means I can't make this any simpler than it already is. But that's fine. In this particular scenario, we have the exact same multiplication for our denominators as we do for our numerators down here. So 5 times 7 times 3, we know that equals 105. And if you want to check that, just put it in a calculator. So we know if we do 5 times 7 times 3, we'll get 105. And then all we have to do is 8 times 4 times 11. And 8 times 4 times 11 is 352. All right. Now, I don't think we can make that any simpler, so I'm going to say that's pretty much our simplest form there. And the reason is because it ends in a 5 and a 2, and we can't see a common relationship there in terms of divisibility. So let's move on to 3. We have 2 over 3 multiplied by 6 over 7 multiplied by 5 over 12. Now, let's have a look and see if we can find any common factors. There's a few here, but let's start off with 3 and 6. So we know that 3 goes into 6 twice and goes into itself once. We also can see that we have a 12 and a 2. So we can simplify this by saying that 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 12 divided by 2 is just 6. So we've simplified this down to be 1 over 1 multiplied by 2 over 7 multiplied by 5 over 6. Now, what we have to realize from this particular situation is that this 1 over 1 here is just 1. And 1 times anything doesn't affect it. So in reality, what we've done is we've changed this fraction problem into being just equal to 2 over 7 multiplied by 5 over 6. And again, we can have a look at this problem and we can see if we can simplify it any further at this stage, which we can. We can simplify the 2 and the 6. So the 2 divided by 2 goes once, and 6 divided by 2 goes 3 times. So in the end, what we have ended up with is our final fraction, which is going to be 1 over 7 multiplied by 5 over 3. Now, if you were paying attention earlier, you would see that I did 12 divided by 2 and 6 divided by 2. Ultimately, that's what caused us to have this fraction here that could be simplified further. So, what's this going to be equal to? It's going to be equal 1 times 5, it's just 5. 7 times 3 is just 21. Okay? So we finished our particular questions, and you can keep doing this for as many different fractions as multiplied together. But at a certain point, it becomes impractical, and you should use a calculator. All right, that's it for this lesson. Please give the questions on the next slide a go, and I will see you in the next one.